Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Satya. So Anjali and Richa are again absent.
Yes, sir.
I'll wait for a minute and then start. Okay, I think I should start. Uh, Data collection forms a very, very important aspect of any research in all your areas. You will be collecting data, and we have seen that data would be collected either from the field or from experiments or from old records or by talking to people, by observations. There are various methods of collecting data. So here is a nice paper which summarized the various types of data collection methods as applied to one field, but these are applicable to many other fields, to all fields. Okay, so it is about software engineering research, but it would be applicable to others also. Okay, it would be applicable to management. It will be applicable to other fields of engineering also. Okay, so these people have classified data collection methods into three levels: first degree, second degree, and 3 degree. And they have called the first degree as direct method, second degree as indirect method, and third degree as independent method. Okay, so let us look at the third degree first. There is some document, some work artifact already available, some designs, old reports, old documents, okay, logs, various kinds of data is already available. Some work was done, and the old documents of that, or the work reports of that, or the work itself, the work which can be the source code, which can be an engineering drawing, which can be a budget, which can be a balance sheet. So whatever the work is, and the documents related to the creation of that work, okay, or the review of that work, whatever documents are existing of that. So if you try to do your research based on deep study of such kind of available artifacts, work related artifacts, which may be documents, reports, or maybe the work itself, okay, maybe some it is not the work artifact is not in the form of a paper, is not in the form of a report, or it is not source code. Work artifact could be that there is a building that exists, okay. So in software it is a code, but in civil engineering maybe a work artifact is a building or a bridge that exists or a road that exists, okay. So work artifacts can be in many forms. It can be a physical work artifact, it could be a design document which would lead to that physical work artifact, or it could be various other documents related to the creation of the work, project management reports of that work, okay, budgets allocated for that work, review reports of that work, monthly review reports of that work, whatever, okay. So in software engineering you have these kind of documents, but work artifact is to be seen as a generic category. So you primarily try to study as a researcher, you are trying to understand what work was done and how it was done by studying those work artifacts, okay. So you are not interacting with people, right? You are interacting with the old records and the old creations, okay. Maybe those people are not available, or purposely you don't want to interact with people because people can give you feel that people can give you some kind of subjective opinions. So you want to go by the paper record. Whatever exists on the paper, whatever was really created, you want to study that. And based on your study, you want to come to some conclusion. For example, your research could be a study of the you may like to study the reasons of failures of software projects, let's say, or reasons of failures of certain organizations or certain startups. Reasons of failures of certain startups you want to study in business, or reasons of failure of some software you want to study in engineering, or reasons of failures of certain chips you want to study in electronics, or certain devices. So what you do, you study that device, you study that whatever that business was doing, you study that software and look at the work artifacts associated with that, and try to conclude your reasons by studying those lot of documents, okay. They may be part of archives, okay. Somebody may still like to investigate the major industrial accidents, okay, that caused the death of let's say more than 100 people. So one may be and trying to study all that, why it happened, and that's a very, very important study, because if you study why it happened, that means you can then propose some guidelines what you should do so that it does not happen again, or you can minimize those risks associated with that kind of possibility, okay. So such research, there are many such research, or you want to improve the process, or you want to learn the good practice from some organization where the success rate, or you want to understand what is the difference in the work done by in the work style of, let's say, HP versus Infosys versus a company in Jaipur, how their work style differs. So you study their work artifacts, and based on that you
come to a conclusion that this is the process that is used by HP, and this is the process used by Infosys, and this is the process used by, let's say, RoboMQ in Jaipur, and try to see are there any differences. Okay, and then explain why HP's process is different from Infosys, and Infosys process, Infosys being such a large company, is different from a smaller company, RoboMQ. And is there something that you can suggest to either of them based on the comparative study with other organizations? Okay, so study of these work artifacts is a very, very important way of collecting data. A lot of research has actually gone by looking at the work artifacts. Historians do a lot of work like that. Okay, historians would go to national. Are you aware of National Archives? All state governments also have state archives. In India Gate, near India Gate, there is a organization called National Archives. It has it has a huge archive of the government records, including that of the British era. Okay, so a lot of researchers visit that place, try to see the government records, and then it is used for their research purpose. You will find many PhD scholars working on their research project sitting in that organization, in the library of that organization, because they are looking at various government records of the past and trying to see what worked, what did not work, why certain thing happened at certain time, what was the reason. Okay, you may look at old when you look at archives, you may also look at news reports of that time. Okay, of course that is not important for software engineering, but for other works it may be important. For marketing it may be important. Okay, somebody doing stock analysis research on stock market also would be interested in the news reports. Okay, so data source is primarily the documents that exist somewhere, or the physical form of the work that exists in whatever form it exists, and you carefully study all that. Okay, this is third degree, independent methods. They are easy, but they give very less control because you can't change anything. Okay, but they are reliable because it is all you are looking at the document. Okay, something that really it is documented, not record. Okay, then there is this second degree, indirect method. So you don't interact with the people again, people who are writing software or people who are using software in this case, because it is a data collection method for software engineering research, but similar things can be mapped to any other thing. Any group of, let's say you are studying architects, so you don't interact with the architects, but you look at how they are working while they are working. It is not that they had worked and you are now looking at what they did. It is while they are working. While they are working, at that time you collect the data. Okay, let's say you ask them to record their conversations. So you don't have to sit in their meetings. You may ask them to record their audio, record their meetings. You may ask them to video record their meetings. Okay, you may ask them to maintain logs, journals. Okay, or you may install a video camera and just let that video camera watch what they are doing and record it. And you, instead of you personally watching at the workplace, you then watch the video recording. Okay, so these are indirect methods. You are observing what the subjects are doing without actually interacting with the subjects. You are not talking to them, but you are observing what they are doing through some method. Or you may install a software on their laptops which will record what they are doing, maintain a log. Okay, or install a video camera which will be connected with some software which will record what they are doing by applying computer vision techniques. Okay, so these are second degree, indirect. You are not interacting with the subjects, but you are through technology, through aids, continuously observing what they are doing while they are doing. The difference in the second and third is after the work was done. Whatever reports, documents were created for the purpose of doing the work, those reports and documents are being used by you. Research is an afterthought. These documents were not primarily created for doing the research by you later. They were created because the work was to be done and reported and reviewed. So they followed their process of doing that work and creating the relevant documents. You use all those documents for studying what work was done and how it was done. That is third. Second is you intervene and create some specific documents, maybe on the paper or in the digital documents. A video is also a digital document in that sense. An audio recording could be a digital document. So you create some digital documents or paper-based documents with the purpose of doing your research, while your subjects are busy doing what they are doing. Maybe they are attending their classes. Maybe if your subject is students in a class, you study how students are behaving in the class. Okay, you study that through some technologies. Okay, or you want to see how teachers are making their classes interesting. Through some technology, you can capture that without actually talking to them.
Sir, means we do not disturb them.
You do not disturb them. You try not to disturb them. You may, or the disturbance may be very, very minimal in the sense that you may ask that while you are doing your work, you may please record this and give me the recording. I will not physically come and disturb you.
Okay.
But this idea that I have to audio record my own meeting could itself be disturbing. Right?
Yes.
I mean, though I'm not so much careful while speaking, but in a classroom, when you are physically in the classroom, I'll be more freer to speak my mind on a variety of issues than if I know that I have to create a video lecture and upload it on the YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Right? So this intervention is minimal, but then if you have to measure something, then you have to disturb it. So, but the disturbance is minimal. It is far better than you sitting in my class.
Okay, sir.
Right? So let's say there is a researcher who wants to do a research on how various people are taking their classes, and he requests that you please create your video of your class, and I want to go through your classes later. So I myself create the video and give it to him. That's a different purpose. But suppose he decides to come into my class, that will disturb you and that will disturb me. Right? So when you want to take, so the third one is not at all disturbing. Second one is marginally disturbing. Okay. But it requires more effort. Right?
It has more control because you can measure what you want to measure. In here, in the third, you have no control, very less control, because whatever document available, you have to get only out of that. You can't create new documents. Whereas here, if your research needs you to collect some data, you can possibly develop a mechanism of collecting that data. If you have had the foresight of your requirement of the data. Then is the first degree, where you are interacting, direct contact with the subject. Okay, brainstorming, interviewing, questionnaire, Delphi survey, work diary, observation, shadowing, participant observer, conceptual modeling. All these are different techniques that you use to interact with your subjects, to collect data from them. So this requires a lot of effort. Okay, it gives you a lot of control, but it has its own weaknesses. What are the weaknesses? One major weakness of this is, in the presence of the researcher, the behavior of the subject may change. So the researcher may never be able to get access to the real behavior. है ना? जब मेहमान आ जाता है घर में, तो सारे बच्चे वेल बिहेव्ड होते हैं.
Yes, sir.
है ना? मेहमान तारीफ करके जाता है, बड़े अच्छे बच्चे हैं. तो मम्मी मुस्कुरा देती है कि अभी आपके जाने के बाद इनकी अच्छाई पता चलेगी. Right? So that's the risk. But what to do? That's how it is. So there are ways of overcoming. There are ways of overcoming this limitation is by collecting a lot of data, not just to, or design your interviews in such a manner that it is difficult to create an artificial impression on you. Design your questions in such a manner that you get to the real truth. And that's an art. Designing, conducting interviews, designing questionnaire, doing brainstorming meetings. These are arts. Some people are very good at it. Okay. Some people may conduct a very information seeking oriented interview and get a lot of detail from the interviewee. Some people may ask very superficial questions. Right? So this is an art. Or you may do shadow. As the subjects are doing what they are doing, you stand beside them. You don't disturb them, but you just keep shadowing them. You are observing them continuously. Suppose somebody is doing research on the doctors, so that person is working with the doctors and just observing how they are interacting with the patients, how they are interacting with the nurses, with other staff, okay, and the caretakers of the patients. Okay, suppose a training program is to be designed for the doctors for improving the patient care. So what is the first thing should be done? The trainers should first observe what is the scope, what is the scope of improvement. So somebody should observe the doctors and see how they are currently behaving, what are their difficulties, what are they doing well. So that's shadowing, that's a research project. And then concluding the training requirements, that if we conduct these 2-day training program on these aspects, it will help the doctors to perform their work better.
Okay, there is a lot of such research that exists in the medical field, in the nursing field, in the software engineering field, in the architecture field. So you want to understand how a particular group of professionals or students are behaving. So you want to improve a teaching method of some topic. You see how it is being taught, find out the difficulties, and then propose a new method. Okay, so there are various such techniques of data collection. First degree, that is the direct method, where you yourself, the researcher or the researcher's team. It is not necessary that the main researcher himself or herself is doing. Maybe he or she hires a team to do this job of data collection, a group of junior researchers who help this person. Okay, so you collect data in person and then you analyze. Second is, while your subjects are busy doing what they are doing, you put some technology to capture what they are doing, and then later on go through those recordings. This capture could be software running on their laptop to continuously log what they are doing. Okay, or it could be a video camera. So whatever parameter you are interested in, you can use the current technology and capture it. Okay, IoT can help in capturing a lot of such information. With a lot of sensors, you can develop many such things. Okay, and then independent methods, where certain thing was done, you don't want to change it now, you want to just understand what happened, so that you can, in future, you can do things in a modified or improved manner. So these are the three methods of data collection, primarily three broad methods of data collection, which will be applicable to a lot of empirical study fields: direct, indirect, and independent. First degree, second degree, third degree. Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
No questions? Okay, so with this, though we can go on, but I think for a 2 credit course, you have already been given a lot of input. You did 5 courses online, MOOC courses, 5 or 6?
7, sir.
7,
7.
sir.
Okay, sorry for under numbering. Okay, so you did 7 courses. That was a good job, and I am sure you can. Can you relate some of that with some of the things that we have done in the last 2 weeks?
Yes, sir. Almost.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
So you, for a 2 credit course, you have been already given an input of, I think, more than 40 hours, if we count those lectures as well as these lectures,
Yes.
right? So I think I should stop here and but I want to share one more important piece of information. Course, in a way, the lecture is over, but
Sir,
this is just share.
Sir, I have problem in hypothesis creation.
हाँ, क्या?
सर बिल्कुल ही समझ नहीं बैठा मेरा तो hypothesis.
Okay. Okay. You have not. Are you okay with forming questions?
Yes, sir. I'm okay with the forming question.
So questions can be re-represented as a hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
So propose a question, and then we'll try to see if we can help you to convert that question into a hypothesis.
Sir, let me take from the Facebook, which I have written in the. Sir, I have written the chat.
You have written something. Where have you written?
In the chat box, sir.
In the chat box. Okay. Okay. No, this cannot be converted into hypothesis. No. This is a larger question. Okay. So suppose there is a question. How does the size of the query video, okay, affect the search time? Okay. Suppose I have this smaller question somewhere. How does the size of the query video affect the search time? This is a question. You want to study it.
Okay.
Suppose you make a guess that search time increases if the query video size increases. Very commonsensical guess,
Yes, sir.
right? Or you can make you can say search time increases by a factor of X as the query video size increases. That's your guess. Now you want to convert this into hypothesis. You can convert this into hypothesis by stating the search time increases as the size of the query video increases. This is a hypothesis now. Search time increases with the increasing size of the query video. This is a hypothesis. So the question was, how does the search time get affected by increasing query video?
Yes, sir.
Do you see the relationship between the research question and the hypothesis now?
Yes, sir.
Same thing. So some research questions can be, so this is a very, what research question you have written is a design problem. This is actually a design problem. So that design problem would have some research questions. Okay. So what process? So you will develop an algorithm and then you will write questions to see if that algorithm is good or not. So this question that I propose about the time is one such research question which can help you to see whether your algorithm that you have developed is okay or not. Right? So you can write many such research questions and convert those research questions into hypotheses. Hypothesis is trying to state something as an expected relationship between dependent and independent variables.
Yes, sir.
You estimate a relationship between dependent and independent variables and you put that relationship as a guess, as your estimate. And that guess is not a random guess. It is informed by your knowledge. You make that guess in the light of your understanding of the theory. And then your attempt is to test that guess, whether that guess is correct or not, and use that result to further improve the theory or to validate the theory.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay. So, all right. So I was saying that I wanted to share this document with you. I have to share. what all is expected from you as outcome. So these 5, please go through this, are the education objectives of PhD program at JKLU. It is expected, our alumni are expected to go through this list. These are the broad education objectives. You are expected to be able to do this. Okay. And in order to be able to do all these 5 things, you should be having good practice with this. So practice doing these. In the next couple of years that you would be spending with us doing your PhD, you should be welcoming opportunities, those tasks that help you to practice any one of them. Because through practice only will you develop these, you will be achieving these objectives. Okay, then there are some certain competencies that have been identified. First is knowledge. So read this PO1. Mastery over a substantial body of knowledge in your discipline. At the forefront. Forefront मतलब जो current knowledge है. आज से 10 साल पुरानी से ही काम नहीं चलेगा. So, you know, जो recent knowledge है, whatever the recent developments in your discipline are, you should be having a mastery over that. And a substantial, not all, but a substantial body. Okay, very, very important. Then let us look at these 2. Critical thinking, problem solving. Notice this. That is the end objective. Development of knowledge and theoretical constructs. Then manage your research. Start maintaining a diary if you have already not done it of your work. Every day write something in it, whatever you have done. Maintain a research diary. That will be greatly helpful. And don't just write. In between, reflect on it. Scan through it after some days and see what is going well and what is not going well. What you need to improve upon. Desirable. And the last group. I will post it on the Facebook.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right, I'm done. Are there any questions, comments?
Sir, how can logs help if we have some issue after publication?
How can what?
Logs, maintaining a diary, maintaining a logbook.
Oh,
After publication.
even there, because, for example, let me tell you, 3 years after publication, after 3 or 4 years after my PhD was completed, I got an email from a leading university in US. They wanted to look at my raw data.
Okay.
Why? Because they were doing a study of the PhD work done in a particular area worldwide. So that was the research project. So they found out from various sources that I am one of those people who had done PhD in that area. So they wrote to all those people who had done PhD in the last, in a certain span, 10 years or so, in that particular area. And they said that, can you provide access to your data collection methods? Okay, so if you have your logs, it is easy to share it with the peer community. Peer community may ask for it at any time. If you've done a wonderful work, somebody might come back to you. It is not just for the sake of publication. If your research is not for the sake of just publication, if your research is for the sake of advancement of the knowledge in your discipline, then it does not end with publication. then publication is only a start of the conversation with the peer group. Often people think that publication is the end. Publication is actually the beginning. Because before publication, there is no conversation with the peers, with the fellow researchers all over the world. Publication starts that interaction with the fellow researchers at other places. And for that communication, you may have to share your log. So it is better to maintain. And as a PhD scholar, on the day of your defense, we may ask you to show your log.
Yes, sir.
Right? It is possible. So it is always going to be helpful to maintain those logs. Because idea is to create research as a social activity. Research is a social activity. It is not just an individual activity. You have to convince others with your work. And that requirement may appear 10 years later. If your work is so exciting that the peers are interested in it.
And sir, should we have to maintain logs according to a format or as we casually?
Not casually. If you can develop a format, that will be good. If you can develop a format, it will be good.
Okay, sir.
And you can evolve your format. Start some way and then develop a format.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions? Nobody has to say anything? Okay. All right, I'll stop and end here. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Good luck to you all.